Well, good morning, folks. Welcome to Waking Up Cerberus. I should say, Waking Up Cerberus to enunciate my consonants constantly correctly and my vowels in a very explicit manner. I am your co host, Gregory Junkbond Carpenter, back from a short bout of pneumonia. I had the walking pneumonia. I am still walking, but I am losing the pneumonia. As you can tell, my voice is back. It's happy. And boy, have we got a show for you today. We've got in studio, we have Booger, we have Suzanne Sherman from the hinterlands of Utah, and our mass producer, and don't ever ask him to do anything other than production, Mr. Jeff Johnson. Folks, we have got a wrap up of the Let My People Smoke. We're going to talk about some crazy laws. We're going to talk about some even crazier actions. But first, here's Suzanne with the housekeeping.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the Cerberus Radio Network, where we defend liberty and freedom from the flames of tyranny. Gang's all here, folks. Like Junkbond said, Junkbond, me, Jeff, and Booger here for 1 hour of radio excellence just for all of you, all three of you. Just kidding. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Cerberus Radio Network, our fan page, CRN. And when I said all three of you, that's about the outreach that Facebook is allowing us to have. We are all putting our heads together and trying to find a better way to reach out to you. In the meantime, we have a YouTube channel. And if you are able to listen live, we have a live chat going on. So feel free to join in with your questions and any commentary. You can send them to my private message box as well during the show, and I will share them as well with our delightful panel here. We do have a Twitter account on that platform as well. I have left Twitter. I'm trying to get off as many of these platforms as I can, but our network does in fact have one, and I believe Jeff and Junkbond are still there as well. SoundCloud, if you cannot listen live, all of our shows are available to download free of charge. Please follow, please share with your friends, let them know. We're up against a big wall here with the tech giants. They don't want our message getting out. We're seeing a lot of the deranking and depublishing of many liberty-minded sites and networks as well. So we're trying to get this message out as best we can. I have all of our stuff available on my webpage, SuzanneCSherman.com. My articles, my blogs. I've got another one in the works. 10th Amendment Center will have one out any minute now. And you can also have, by going to our soundbar link, our social media bar, you can go right to my Suzanne Sherman's Wasatch Report news page. Jeff is monitoring that for me. He's an admin, keeping that up and running. Interestingly, I seem to get a lot more follows when I'm silenced on Facebook and can't share anything. So we'll just, there's a message there. We'll just run with that one. My articles, blogs, and you can go right to our YouTube and our SoundCloud pages just by going to the soundbar there. So until we get our radio network website up and running, that will have to do for now. Junkbond, back to you.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Let me just throw it out there. Booger, good morning. How are you doing today?
I am doing fabulous, brother. Thank you for asking.
Good. It doesn't sound like you have pneumonia. So I think we're going to have a very lively and happy discussion today. Dr. Johnson, how are you, sir?
Oh, you're going to let me talk? Wow.
I shall.
Awesome. I'm doing well, thank you.
Okay. I didn't know if you were doing awesome or if you were saying awesome in response to the allowances I've made for your inclusion on the radio show.
Oh, Suzanne, stop. Did you see the she sent you?
Yes. Did I just have a vowel movement? Oh, come on, Suzanne.
Yeah, okay. This is a morning show, so yes, we do. There is some
my goodness
going on the host parts.
Terribly flaky. I heard, I had a guy before we get into the discussion about Let My People Smoke in the Twin Smoke Shops. I had a discussion yesterday in my half breathing mode that I was in because of the pneumonia. He was telling me that what a great job Trump was doing draining the swamp. And I said to him, I believe Trump needs to call Roto-Rooter because there's a clog in the drain in the swamp. I haven't seen anybody leave yet. Have you? I mean, has anybody actually left the swamp? They're all still there.
I
Well-
think he meant he was going to drain the banker swamp. That was it.
Very good, Booger. Well, that in fact is happening. So, okay, I'll go with that. Maybe that's what it was. But yeah, I said, I'm sorry, the drain's clogged. Nobody's going anywhere. Nobody went anywhere. And now you see that there's this big fight back and forth between the CIA and the FBI. Who checked that Steele dossier? It was you. No, it was you. It was you. It was you. Oh boy, I can't wait to see this one unravel. This is going to be great. And as you know, this was the beginning of the Russian collusion garbage that was going on. That I told folks 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago now, gosh, that there's nothing there, nothing happened. Well, now it's come time for everyone to stand up and say, okay, this was my part, this was my part, this was my part. And neither the CIA nor the FBI wants to claim that it was their responsibility to validate the Steele dossier. So it looks like we're going to have a lot of finger pointing, and we might have, break out the popcorn. This could be very interesting.
You know what's strange to me is why it took so long for them to actively discuss what to the rest of us was very obvious. As soon as it became apparent that the Clinton campaign funded the creation of the Steele dossier, there should have been some arrests made. We've seen this collusion to interfere with our elections. Let's see, we had a member of Donna Brazile sending the questions for the debate on CNN to Hillary Clinton ahead of time. We've seen, just absolutely
blatant.
It was blatant, and nothing has been done whatsoever. And this insane cow keeps insisting that the election was stolen from you. And she still managed to lose. This is how sick and tired people are of, what's been going on in the swamp. And Trump did promise to drain it. And I think it's never been more full, and the creatures are thriving more than ever.
Yeah, I think you're right. You do see this resilience out there. There are numerous states that are bucking the federal system now in many ways. We mentioned it yesterday a little bit. We were talking amongst ourselves, folks. Many states have decided to not pay attention to the federal government ban on the devil's weed, marijuana, right? More and more states are allowing it for medical use, recreational use, or whatever. And now, on top of that, we see that more and more states are bucking the quote federal support of taxpayer-funded abortions.
Yeah, that's where they draw the line. How courageous. I think you guys were talking before we got the show rolling about how you wanted to start the show with "Let My People Smoke." Then we can address these issues of federalism. You had some cool stuff that you'd sent links for. We have a case that will be appearing before the Supreme Court, and an issue of a home invasion gone wrong for an unarmed gentleman. I'll let
Thank you for setting me straight, Suzanne, because I just get going and I just don't stop. As you know, I'm the mouth that roared.
Well, I've got the attention span of a gnat, so I'm one to go off the.
Hey, that's great. We got a team out here called the Nats. Maybe you could pinch hit for them.
So last week, you guys went to an event in Philly called Let My People Smoke. Jeff and I talked about some of the stuff he saw yesterday. We kind of went on a little tangent there as far as the propaganda that we're hearing from a lot of the docents and National Park Service employees. But let's talk about the event itself. It's kind of cool. I know you guys have been going on there for years and supporting this organization.
We have, and I want you to know that during the event, they have a massive raffles. Everything in the world is given away. from lighters to humidors, cigars. I mean, they had hats. They had other things. I'm not going to say what Eric Espinoza called them, but I guess they were thermoses of some kind.
They were stainless steel hot thermoses for your coffee, so you could drink them on your way to work and stuff.
Very good. Okay.
Eric was a little bit wound up. I think he had a couple. He had some libations, I believe.
Yeah, you think? But it was fun. It was fun, and they had tons of stuff they were giving away. And for the 5th straight year, I won nothing, and that's okay. I'm going to keep it rolling. I'm telling you what, because everybody at the table with me, everybody scored something, except me. Jeff, what did you win?
I won a ashtray.
He got it. Yeah, that's right. Got a big smoking ashtray there.
Gaz didn't win either.
Well, he got a hat.
Oh, did he get a hat? Okay.
He got a hat. Yeah, he got a hat.
So
and
everyone got something. The gentleman from the jewelry store really
Pedro.
payload.
He scored big time. He got that huge humidor. I have never seen a
Plus he got
desktop humidor
cigars in that box.
Oh, it was amazing, and they're premium cigars, just premiums. I mean, you couldn't have asked for. I mean, all the cigars that he won in that box wouldn't have fit in that huge humidor. It must have been 100 cigar humidor he had. It was huge. You put that on top of your desk, and you're going to have to put your computer on top of it. That's how big it was. It'd take up half your desk.
In deference to that guy, he was one of the ones that donated prizes for that event.
Right. He donated the Invictus watch for the person who did not win the Opus X cigars, because he said he felt bad. If somebody, you put in the raffle to win the Opus X Forbidden City cigars, and you don't win them, you just threw away how much money. Well, he wanted people to have something, but I mean, an Invictus watch, that thing was stellar. Let me tell you, that was probably just as much, if not more, for the watch than it was for the cigars themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it was a beautiful watch. A lot of the prizes were beautiful, and it was really funny. They gave away a bicycle this year, which they've never done. And right. I can't remember, what cigar company donated?
I think that was Macundo.
Macundo, that was it. And so
the guy, he drove off.
Yeah, he drove it away. And again, folks, next year it'll be about the second Wednesday of May in Philadelphia. And every year, last few years, it's been at, what is that, 2,300 or 3,200?
2,300.
2,300 Arena in Philadelphia. Yep. It's a big venue. They have a bar out in the one room, and then the food is over in another corner, and then they have all the tables set. There was at least 300 people there this year. Great event. The food was, the lobster, the prime rib.
Oh man, I walked. I was eating with my eyes. Right. That's what I did. I was dying for that Kaiser roll. The last thing that I tried to get to, I could not get to that. I had everything else. I had the lobster, the lamb, those little lollipop. Oh man. Let me tell you. And so the sponsor here, right, is the Twin Smoke Shop. It's the oldest cigar shop in Philadelphia, in South Philadelphia. And they've been there since, I think it was 1950. It's owned by Maria and Anthony Renzulli. They have only premium cigars. I'm telling you, every cigar in there is a winner. You're not going to find a dud amongst the group. And he also has his own line of cigars, the Renzulli cigars. Folks, when I'm telling you these are great cigars, these are great cigars. I walked in there, and first thing Anthony hits me with is a box of them, because I've been dying for him to get some back in. The specific ones that I like. They have Habano and Rosado wrappers, Nicaraguan filled. They're blended in Esteli, Nicaragua, in case you were curious. So, and the fiend, the villain at the helm of getting all this done is Eric Espinoza. of Espinosa and La Zona cigars. So you're really getting top quality stuff when you go up there to the shop. And gosh, we walk in there and it's every day is like a party. Every day is like the happiest day of the year, right? I walked in and I said, I'm trying to save my appetite for tonight. No. Teddy's like, no, you're not going to do that. I'm sorry. And what am I doing? I'm eating these meatball heroes. Talk about good food. I forgot where they got them from. They got them from just the deli just down the street. But great food. They always bring in great food. I brought in cannoli the next day, and you missed out on that, Jeff. I'm sorry. But we filled them up with some cannoli, and we dropped off Mr. Joss Will, who was our guest, who came with us also on the morning after. And we walked in, and Anthony's there, big smile, all the gang's all here. And what does he have up at the front? Hot pretzels. You know, the last time I had a good hot pretzel, I can't even tell you when. It was amazing. It was delicious.
And I will tell you this much. Another thing about Philadelphia, you go to Philadelphia for really two things. Well, if you include the Twin Smoke Shop, the three things. You go there for Philly cheesesteaks, and they're called Philly cheesesteaks for a reason, because that's where you get them.
Right.
And the other one you get is their soft, hot pretzels.
Yep.
Nowhere else will you get good pretzels like that, but Philly. So you go there for three things. Every time you go, you want to get a Philly cheesesteak, you want to get hot pretzels, and you definitely want to go to Twin Smoke Shop, because Anthony will take good care of you.
Oh yeah, it's the Rocky Patel Lounge in the back, and you have the BYOB policy in place. So bring it in, enjoy it, enjoy your cigar. They have no corking fees, nothing like that. It's a very laid back and relaxed place. You want to go somewhere and relax? Go to the Twin Smoke Shops. Now, how many cigars did you get at Let My People Smoke?
Oh, Greg, I honestly don't have any idea anymore. It was at least 30, maybe more. And after the after party is just as much fun. So after the event, a huge crowd descends back on the Twin Smoke. And I can't remember, what was the lady's name that was sitting across from me outside? I don't remember her name, but she threw me a bag with 5 cigars in it. And they were Monte Cristos. And after Anthony's cigars, Monte Cristos are absolutely my favorite cigars. And so that was an extra 5 on top of what I already got, 30 over there. So I'm out of humidor space here completely. I think I have 5 cigars, not in the humidor, but I have in a bag with one of those packets. Keep it on.
I saw her throw that over to you, and your face lit up like the 4th of July. You looked at it, you're like, no way.
Yeah. I was so excited.
Yeah. So, it's not because everybody's genuine. It's not a forced smile on any face there. And you feel like, you're part of the family as soon as you show up. The first time I went there, I walked in and I was a little lost. I had never been there before. Our friend Jeremy had said, okay, Greg, when you go up there, go hit the Twin Smoke Shops, go check it out. So I walked in, I'm just looking around a little bit, and out of nowhere, this police officer comes up behind me. He goes, "Can I help you?" And I couldn't figure out what I did wrong. I'm thinking I'm going off. They're going to pull up the paddy wagon, drive me away here. But no, it was our friend. Now we know it's our friend John the cop, who was there just looking to help me try to find the cigar or whatever I wanted. He was actually there to help me. And it blew my mind. It was just like I had been his friend for, 30 years. That's how relaxed, that's how comfortable the whole setting is up there. And everyone who comes in has the same type of mentality and demeanor. They're all relaxed. No one is off the cuff. Everybody is very, very pleasant. And I walked away with, I did buy a couple things. I went back over to the Cigar Rights of America guy and renewed. What's that?
Oh, that's right. You renewed. What was the organization so we can get their name out there?
Yep, that's the Cigar Rights of America. They're out there trying to fight this federal legislation that's happening to put extra costs on premium cigars that are manufactured after 2007. Let me see if we can contact them. Maybe have them come on and talk a little bit one day on one of our shows. They're located right here in DC, and I've talked with them before. Very nice guys. I forgot what I was saying now.
And you got a
so
bag.
I picked up.
How many
Yeah,
cigars you got? And I know you got a bag of like 10 from them for just joining for the 3 years.
Right. I re-upped for 4 years, and they gave me a bag of 10 cigars, 5 of which were Cigar Aficionado #1 cigar of the year for various years. The other 5 were Cigar Aficionado #2 cigars for the year. So, I'm walking away with it was $100 for 4 years. And if you think about that, those things, none of those are $10 cigars. The #1 and #2 cigars from Cigar Aficionado, none of them are a $10 cigar. I'm sorry. I made out like a bandit with that. And then I went back up to the table and I saw the Cristobal and Macundo folks. And I got some extra cigars there. Very good price. And I think I walked away with about 85 cigars, not including the 6 or 7, maybe 10 that I had smoked in those 2 days. So that was my turnaround. And not too shabby, not too shabby for a couple days in Philly for a fabulous event and just spending a great time and eating a whole bunch of good food and enjoying everybody's company.
Now, I will say the first act of music was a little bit odd for a cigars event, but it was okay. But the second time,
it wasn't. No, it wasn't. What are you talking about?
I'm trying to be nice here, Greg. Come on, morning show.
Nice is nice.
It was a little different.
You're from the woods. I'm from Brooklyn. Okay, look, it was. Okay, could they sing well? They sang great. Did they try some sing-alongs? They tried some sing-alongs, but the West Virginia Moonshine Band, or I don't know their name, but I don't know, but were they good? They were fabulous. And I think it was just an opportunity for them to get some visibility, which was fine. I sat there and went, it's like, holy cow, we're back in West Virginia again here. And I'm not nothing against West Virginia people, but I was just in West Virginia.
Doc George would have loved them.
Doc George would have loved them. Yes, Dr. George, he would have gone gaga over them because, yeah, it's like the what's that group? The 5-String Soldier band. It's a bunch of West Virginia guys that do a great job. These guys were good like that. They were very, very good. And forgetting a little exposure at Let My People Smoke. Okay, they did well. Actually, they did a great job. I just the second singer had more of the songs that I was expecting to hear at the event. He had everything from Frank Sinatra to Dino, and yeah, he had all that stuff. So, but yeah, bluegrass. I just didn't. I mean, I was glad I was getting cigars, and I was, they were singing Mac Davis. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble. You sing this every morning, Suzanne. Come on. When you're perfect in every way. No, she's not going to join in.
I have the lyrics actually printed on my mirror.
See that?
I thought you were. I thought she would say she had them tattooed to her butt, but
Ah. But we were in line getting cigars, and they started singing Mac Davis, and everybody in line with us was singing along with them. I mean, we had a good time. We had a good time. What was the other thing? Oh, and I did score a 3-pack of Opus X. I was able to get a 3-pack of Opus X. One of the few I got the Bellicosas. So next time you're over, Jeff, please make it a point to when you come to my house, make it a point to come see me so I can make sure that I give you one of these.
All right. Well, I'll have to make a trip to Virginia.
Hey, did Jeremy end up making it out there?
No, he did not. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it.
Yeah, he has his plate full right now. I talked to him. He just wasn't able to get away.
Yeah, it's unfortunate too, because we had so John the cop, when we put in for the seating arrangements, had us sit with the cops, which was funny. We had 2 tables there, and we were all at these 2 tables, right in the middle. So when now we brought another friend of mine, Dr. Hess, Dr. Barry Hess, who came up for the first time. It was his first time there, and don't you know? As things go, the 3rd or 4th raffle was Dr. Hess winning a travel humidor with a lighter and a cutter and everything inside of it. And we were all excited for him. And then he goes and wins again. He wins his big tabletop humidor. And we're all smiling and we're all happy for him because we know that not having Jeremy there, somebody had to be the multiple winner at the table, and that was passed on to Dr. Hess, obviously. Jeremy was a guy who would win 2 or 3 times in the night, or even, I think one year he won 4 times. And we were all sitting, scratching our heads. But, it's luck of the draw. And it was fun. We all had a good time. And we're already ready to go for next year. I think next year they're going to top like 400 people. I can see it now. It was that good of an event. The food was fabulous. The people were awesome. The cigars were incredible. And it's just something, if you enjoy smoking cigars, it's an event you don't want to miss. You really don't. It's become the premier East Coast cigar event. And I look forward to it next year. Any final thoughts on that, Jeff?
No, what were there, like 25 cigar manufacturers there, maybe? So
I want to say about 30.
Well, it could have been 30.
Yeah,
and
a couple of them didn't make it, and that's okay.
Give you a premium cigar. The food is fantastic. And this year, that gentleman from Sopranos was there signing stuff. And you actually bought a I don't know a license plate, but it was like a fan. I don't know. It's not a real license plate.
Right. It's a New York State license plate. It's like I walked over to Joe and I looked at the plates, and he because we had talked at the shop for a while. And he goes, "Brooklyn, right?" I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Okay, yeah, this one's for you." And I didn't have to buy it.
Oh,
but I did, because it was the forget about it plate. And it was awesome. It was totally awesome. So I got that on my Mercedes on the front.
I have nothing else for it, but that was it was a great event. Had a great time. Anthony and Maria are wonderful, wonderful people. I love them to death. And Eric, he's an honorary Philadelphian. He needs to buy a house soon up in Philly so he can be a part-time.
He does.
So
yeah, he's like a homeless Philadelphian right now.
Yep. So
yeah, he needs to get a place. Last word on the subject though is when you go next year, inside your bag is at the bottom, and you got to get to the bottom, because that's where there's a little hand wrapped piece of chocolate made by Mrs. Renzulli. And if you want wonderful, amazing chocolate, just go to the event, pay for the event, and just hit the chocolate. It's that good. She is a dynamic, wonderful, wonderful cook. And that's where we're going to leave it right there. Is that okay with you, Suzanne? We got 30 minutes left on the show. How'd we do?
Outstanding. And I think that we in the description box for the show had a topic that you had also selected. Why don't we run with that?
Oh, okay. I think he's done. The voice is shot. 30 minutes of talking. I think his pneumonia is getting the best of him. So
Okay.
we'll come back to that, the really kinetic strike on the Hamas cyber location another time. But we had some other stuff that you had posted. I don't know which one you want to open with, whether it's the Supreme Court one or with something else.
Well, I did find something here, and I sent it to you guys in the group. And this was actually something that came out from the state of Pennsylvania. And this is, again, another instance of a home invasion gone very wrong because the well-armed citizen was neither well nor armed. Folks, this is a lesson. You know, if you can't defend your family and do it properly, you really need to rethink your strategy here. Here's a gentleman, it says here, this was out of law enforcement today. A man was shot and killed while attempting to defend his home. And again, this was out of Pennsylvania. And we know that there are a lot of stories that are reported when the well-armed citizen successfully thwarts those with ill intentions on their families. And this is not sadly one of those stories. It says here, a man is facing a similar situation Monday night, was not lucky, as we said, with regards to thwarting attacks. Home invasion turned deadly. 2 men attempted to break into a man's home. They never do identify the gentleman. Between 9 and 10 o'clock on a Monday evening. Typically, people are awake at that hour of the night. Jeff, where do you keep your firearm when you're home?
Well, right now it's on my hip.
Yeah.
Every waking hour, it's on my hip.
And now this man had 2 young sons, and people will say, well, it's not safe to have a firearm that's not locked up when you're not home. If it is on your body, it is the safest place. That is the safest place to store it when you are at home, particularly if you have young children to protect. So he had 2 young sons that were home. 2 men tried to break into the home, and the police are withholding, as I said, the name. The homeowner realized the children's safety had been compromised. Then he confronted the intruders. He was reportedly pepper sprayed by his assailants. Now, pepper spray is not a gun. I have shared one of the incidents that really inspired me to be armed and learned how to have a firearm to protect my young children at the time. Was a tragic incident in Connecticut, in the state of Connecticut, where a family was held hostage by 2 home invaders. Now, husband, wife, 2 daughters. We had 2 adults in the home that could have been armed and trained in the use of firearms. The mother and one of the daughters actually went to an ATM to go get cash while the other 2 were held hostage behind. Mother, daughters brutalized in manners we will not describe on the show. And ultimately, they were all killed except for the father. Now, it turned out the firearms used to intimidate this family were not even real. Let me get back to this story. So the man's children reported hearing a struggle from where they were in another room. And the police say that following a shot, he was the gentleman who was a victim here was able to call 911 and report the crime and his injuries. And the man was able to meet the officials at the door. The homeowner was rushed to the hospital. Unfortunately, he did succumb to his injuries. When asked if the neighborhood should be concerned for their safety, what do the police always say? No, this is an isolated incident, and the man's house was the intended target. We see this all the time. It's an isolated incident, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry about protecting your own family. So, you know, what's the lesson here? Be ready to protect yourself. Apparently, if this was also a targeted home, you would think that this man, who might be in some sort of a precarious situation based on some behavior, would be able to protect himself and his children. But I just thought this was very sad, very unnecessary.
You know what's interesting? If they're going to call a home break-in an isolated incident, I think probably every criminal incident on the planet could also be called isolated. I just don't.
Yeah, exactly. I remember where my cousin was living in California at the time. They were in a very wealthy, very exclusive area, and there was a home invasion. So apparently, having a ridiculously high income and property value is not going to keep you from these attacks. And my cousin was actually interviewed, and she was on TV, and they just said, "Yeah, this is really scary, and we just don't know what we're going to do." Hey, I have an idea. But the default among these people is just to wait for police officers to help. And I actually had this discussion when I was living there in California, and one gal said, "Why would anybody need a handgun?" I said, "Well, let's travel down the road of hypotheticals here, and let's say now two guys kick in our doors and grab our kids were all really young at the time, and grab one of your sons, and the police. It'll take them about 10 minutes or so because we're in a rural area. Never mind the fact that we're a mile away from the sheriff's substation. What would you like to see happen?" She goes, "I guess I would hope that you had a handgun handy." So let that be a lesson to you folks. We see these stories all the time. And if you guys have any more commentary, great. Otherwise, I want to move on to something else that came across my news feed yesterday as well.
I just want to say that when seconds are important, the police are minutes away. We've heard that over and over again. I'm actually using that in a speech tonight. And it's the truth. There is no better reason for your personal safety, for your family safety, or safety from a tyrannical government. None whatsoever. As a matter of fact, there's no reason why you shouldn't be carrying some type of protection with you. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, and we hear about these. Go ahead, Jeff.
I just wanted to add in here. It's very interesting that they said they would hope that you had a firearm on you. So he's going to depend on somebody else to take care of him. Okay, not going to happen. If you're not there, you're still on your own. Second thing is, we've talked in numerous times how the Supreme Court has ruled that the police have no duty to respond. So you're expecting somebody to respond that has no duty to respond, and if they don't make it there, they're not in any trouble. And even if they do get there, they're going to get there long after the event is over.
So
you're placing your hope in something that is a definite maybe at best.
But this is the case, Jeff, where it's somebody else's responsibility. It's not your responsibility to take care of yourself. Like the lady said to Suzanne, I hope you have a handgun. I hope the police come. What about you? Where's your responsibility in all this?
Another gal that was present also said, "I'd call 911. I said, "Okay, what if you can't get to it in time? What if there are multiple assailants and one of them will tell you, you use that gun, I'm going to put a round right through your head." So my firearms instructor, the late, great Louis Auerbach, when I was taking one of his pistols tactics class, said, if somebody comes in and they have one of your kids and a gun pointed at that kid's head, that cop's going to back right out. And Louis, did an impersonation that he was talking on his little radio on the shoulder. And he said that they're going to call in the hostage negotiation team. During that time, you are completely at the mercy of somebody already intent and already proven their intent to cause harm. So what are you going to do? And he said, it is up to you. One of the women also quit because there was a break-in. Somebody had broken into their backyard and trying to get into their garage. I said, so what are you going to do if they try and get into the house? And she flippantly said, I would send my kids out to the living room with their toy guns. Well, that's bravo, genius. But this is the mentality. It's either not going to happen to you or I'm going to have this absolutely nonsensical response. So
that's a great idea. Toy guns. That'll work every time, right?
Right. Well, the funny thing is when carjacking started becoming, talked about in the news, one of my father's friends had said, this woman said, wouldn't it be funny if somebody tried that and you held up a toy gun? And she was kind of giggling. And I said, yeah, it's all fun and games until they shoot you in the head with the real one. Come on, people. Wake up.
Mm.
Let's see. Did you want to talk about, Junk Bond, you were talking about some of the laws in Alabama. This is the one, the abortion law. You also said something about Israel and cyber attacks. Where do you want to go right now?
Let's go to Israel.
Okay, I will listen.
I think that's it's an interesting topic. Booger and I were looking at this earlier. It seems that Hamas, the terror organization, has been hacking Israel, and it's no surprise. It's been happening for years, on and off. Right? Nobody here is surprised. Everybody here is on the same sheet of music. Now, the interesting part is that under international law, Israel is, or any nation state, let me put it like that, is allowed to respond with kinetic force that equals the amount of damage done through a cyber attack. But it's never been done before until the other day when Israel did it, and they came off with a huge rocket attack against Hamas. And of course, now Hamas is complaining that it was Israel's fault. And, it'll go back and forth. In this case, is it Israel's fault? No, it's really not Israel's fault. In this case, they were attacked first. They were hacked, and some very sensitive information was compromised. But in the mind of, Hamas, they're getting the short end of the stick. The bigger implications for this are now, how much have we been hacked by China? And how much has China hacked us? These are realities we're going to have to deal with in the very near future, simply because we and Russia and China and numerous other countries have been playing this game for a very long time, where we all hack each other. And we're going to have to start to make some pretty serious decisions on how we're going to go forward and how we're going to engage in this type of activity and this type of behavior, because you know what? We're really going to have problems if every time we hack a country, they are allowed to have a kinetic response, or every time somebody hacks us, we are going to have a kinetic response. Things are getting way out of control right now. We're losing control.
Yes. See, and I'll give your voice a break. Here's a very big danger I see on this. Enemy agent from country, okay, let's say Israel wants to hit another facility in Hamas. Okay, or Hamas wants to justify a rocket attack on Israel. They send actually one of their people in to start hacking from the location that they want to hit. You see what I'm saying? Or somehow using the network to give the information, the electronic information that they want to acquire to justify the attack. When really the country that did the attack was the country that did the hack, but they just made it come from enemy territory because they wanted to strike. You and I know it's going to be difficult, especially if the government wants to cover it up, to truly identify where the hack actually really, really came from. You know what I'm saying, Greg? You see the potential to start a war over anything, anytime.
Yeah, it takes a lot to verify who hacked who. It doesn't come quickly. Are there lots of artifacts left on computers when somebody's hacked? Yes. Is there a lot of evidence? Yes. It's got to be collected. It's got to be verified. And it takes a very long time. Having said that, is it easy to make a mistake? Well, yeah. Yeah, it sure is. It's easy to make a mistake too. And that's the crux of the problem right now for a lot of countries, because if you think about it, you say, okay, these guys hacked us and it really wasn't them. So now you're going to go out and take unilateral action against another country that may or may not have been the ones that are involved in the hacking itself. I think we're playing with fire now, and we're getting into a predicament that we may not be able to quietly and peacefully get our way out of. We haven't seen this before. We've heard about it, and we've heard all the speculation about what's going to happen here or there. How it's going to affect international relations and change the socioeconomic status of different people and different groups, but we haven't seen it actually happen before. And well, now it's happened. So now we get to sit back and look and see what happens next. Because what happens next is going to be obviously what dictates policy and what's going to dictate the actions of all the other countries over the next couple of decades.
Yeah, it's like it gives a whole nother dimension for possible false flags. Okay, especially when the government that's gathering the information wants to mislead the world on the situation.
Sure.
And it's much more difficult than something like, let's say, the Twin Towers, where you have actual physical evidence that multiple people can get access to and analyze it. When we start talking about this hack situation combined with military force, it does. I mean, it just gives a whole nother playground for a military industrial complex to justify doing whatever they want. Now, it's not saying there's not going to be real ones, but you see that's a slippery slope. I agree with you that we're on. It's opening a dangerous door.
Yeah, big can of worms, and we really need to be aware of what's happening because we're not going to be able to recover from this. Just like we can't recover from some of the other things that we're doing, like introducing new viruses, right, into the world. We can't take them back. We introduced the Marburg virus, a very deadly, problematic virus, and we can't go back and we can't take that back. So we have to really think about what we want to do, what we mean to do, and I don't know that there's a cohesive way forward in what we're thinking about or what we're trying to project. It's kind of it's actually rather disturbing to think that we're at this point now and we don't have a very good idea of what forward or what progress looks like. You know what I mean?
I have a quick commentary. Remember, candidate Trump had pledged to get us out of these wars and not get involved, and he recently vetoed a resolution by Congress, I believe it was, to get us out of the engagement with Yemen. So we're not seeing this. Interestingly, there appears to be one staunch anti-war candidate coming up for the 2020 election cycle. Interestingly, that is Tulsi Gabbard. And we're seeing her excoriated by her own party, by the New York Times, by all sides. And she doesn't, she's almost like the Ron Paul of the Democrat Party, only with regards to the anti-war sentiment. Obviously, she's a big government advocate. But you know what? I had this conversation with somebody in Park City recently, and I said, I think I'm going to, for the purposes of the primary, switch teams and support her in the primary. And somebody said, you mean the socialist? And I had to laugh because this came hot on the heels after Trump pledged $2 trillion in conjunction with Nancy Pelosi for nationwide infrastructure improvements. The plan to pay for this to be determined at a later date. So tell me, do we have anybody that is not a socialist at all these days? Even the conservatives love their education programs. And here's a gal that actually pledges to be an anti-war president. But again, we saw Obama say the same thing. Trump said the same thing. She says that she will be different. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Is it worth a shot for her?
I think it's going to end up just the same. If someone with such a strong personality as Trump is unable to adjust the course of where we're going, I don't see her having a chance.
Well, yeah, here's a thing that's going to happen. When you're going against the biggest liars on the planet, you're going to become the most lied about person on the planet. You know, that's what she's
There it
doing,
is.
right?
That's
Yeah,
it.
there you
Yep,
go.
that's it.
And I mean, they are going to put every label that they can on her to try to get the discussion to be about the labels as opposed to policies. And I would like to see politicians start to develop that the strategy in debating, that they refuse to even debate about a label. Okay, well, you're this, this, this. I will not even respond to that. Or am I a socialist? Am I a racist? I will not even respond to labels because they can be put on anyone. Let's talk about policies. That's the way I think, she needs to run her strategy.
And the
Well,
meaning
here
of
we
a
go.
label can switch at any time too. Look at the meaning of a liberal, right? A classical liberal. Classical liberal is not what we think a liberal is, but yet here we are calling people liberals, and they're not really liberals.
Well,
Good,
same
Jeff,
thing
I'm
with
sorry.
same thing with the word conservative. I got a telemarketing call one time and they said, "How do you identify yourself as a conservative, as a liberal?" I said, "I don't think you people even know what these terms mean. So I can't answer your question. You want
True that.
you want a one word response to a very complex issue, and I can't give you that." So interestingly enough, I find that I don't identify with the conservative principles anymore, more of the classical liberal. But again, people don't see what that means. And when you try to argue issues such as federalism, the so-called conservatives, oh yeah, damn commie. And our good friend Tom Mullen, who wrote, he does a lot of articles for Fee. He wrote a book called "Where Do Conservatives Come From?" And he says conservatives do like to conserve a lot of traditional values, which often coincide with principles of big government. So if you think conservatism is about limited government, you're sorely mistaken. Story out of the great state of Texas. And John Cornyn is Texas's version, apparently, of AOC. He's saying it is time to stop ignoring climate change and emissions. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want a climate change ideologist in the Republican Party of Texas, here's your opportunity. You do have an opportunity to get somebody who understands little r Republicanism, and that's Dwayne Stovall. He is trying to get Cornyn seat. So do follow Texans for Stovall. Very good friend, very sharp guy, Dwayne Stovall, and start contributing to his campaign. Spread the word about this guy. He is running, I believe, as an independent because of the shenanigans in the Republican Party. Statistically, mathematically, the possibility of beating Cornyn with Dwayne Stovall is possible, but people have to educate themselves and shed this chain they find comfortable with, the letter R that they like to wrap themselves and cloak themselves with, because if we just have a Republican, everything's going to be okay. Stop it.
Well,
Yeah, if we just had Nixon again, everything would be okay. Sorry. Good, Jeff.
Oh, I can finally speak? Thank you.
Well, you are the producer. You're supposed to be producing right now.
Well, I am. I put 7 minutes up almost a minute ago now.
Good man.
Almost 2 minutes ago now. Anyway, we had Canada and Trump. He's going to be anti-war, no nation building. And what do we get? John Bolton.
And Nikki Haley, Pompeo, who's some other clowns.
Yeah. So, you can make the promises, but then when you get there, you get all the same retreads from Bush and Clinton and all the rest of them.
you know what really gets me? Just I cannot believe it. These people that believe that they're so uneducated. They don't even understand the dynamics of physics when they see these things. Oh, there's islands sinking in this place in the world. And they themselves live on the beach and the water level has not changed. Okay. It's physically impossible for the water to only raise where those islands are. I mean, I cannot, it's beyond me.
Or they
Booger's
might
doing
tip
common
over.
sense again. Tell them to stop.
Or that island's going to tip over, like that one
Guam.
congressman said.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
great clip. I thought that was a joke at first when the first time I saw that, and then I saw the admiral. Well, we'll look into it, sir. I don't think that many soldiers or sailors, whatever, is going to
Great.
tip an island. It seems pretty stable. Like, what? You're actually entertaining this Yahoo?
Yeah. Another thing I see on here, you wanted me to cover a little bit on Venezuela.
Yeah.
You guys seen I sent you a few days ago about that thing. What it is, the refineries down there in Venezuela are working at a fraction. The refineries that actually refine crude to actual fuel, they're working at a fraction of their capacity because the government has been embezzling all the money that should be going into maintenance. You guys seen the spectacular light show I sent you on their power grid just arcing across and shutting itself off
That
because,
was crazy.
yes, they're embezzling the money. That's what's going on. The corruption down there in the government, and then they're trying to make it look like, oh, it's U.S. sanctions that are doing all this damage. I'll tell you what, when I was down there in Colombia, in Venezuela, around 2003, 2004, the river that was the border, doggone, I forget it at the moment, between Colombia and Venezuela, when rainy season would come in and then the river gets up high, then dry season comes in and it drains out, gets really low. All of these pipelines would be found, illegal pipelines, where people in Venezuela, in the government, in the military, were stealing fuel from. And here's the thing. The petroleum industry had been nationalized. This is the big thing I hear on the news, and it's insanity. Had been nationalized to give the wealth to the people as a whole. No, it was nationalized so that the kleptocracy could steal it all. That money never went to the people. Okay, they stole all of that, all the money coming off of that. And these pipelines would appear, and of course, they'd go out finally, remove them, all this, but it was simply the Venezuelans would run illegal pipelines under this, through this river, and then they would pull up with trucks and start pumping the gas over into Colombia and selling it on the black market. These things down there on this, whenever it's the horrible U.S. sanctions, and that's why the socialism isn't working. All this socialism design, we covered it on other programs. I mean, it's when you nationalize all the industry like that, all you do is make the government the collection agent or give them the power to collect resources for these international banking cartels. That's pretty well it, I guess.
Well,
You got
Suzanne, you're going to close us out. We have 1 minute.
Yes, I'd be happy to. Great discussion. It was really nice to take a little break and hear about your shenanigans at the Let My People Smoke Shop. It was interestingly 1 year ago this week, Jeff, that we had our shenanigans out here in the hinterlands. I really enjoyed your visit out here. That was a lot of fun. Hopefully we can all get together soon. Want to thank everybody for listening today. We will post some announcements when we have shows the rest of this week. So I want to, on behalf of the rest of the gang here, Junk Bond, Booger, and Jeff, I'm Suzanne Sherman. Want to thank you for listening. Have a great day. God bless you.